Club Hoops podcast, the father daughter podcast. It's all about women's basketball. I'm Natalie Franklin, the
And
daughter.
I'm Gregory Franklin. Sorry, Natalie, for stepping on you a little bit there.
Did you forget what your name was? The pause was like, and I'm.
Well, no,
Oh,
I was
I'm
trying
good.
to time it so when you finished, I would jump right in. But, you know, I missed, but I'm here.
Yeah, you put too much pressure on yourself.
I really do. This is important to me. Like I said, you're the producer. I got to satisfy the producer.
It's true. And this is our first episode on YouTube. Fingers crossed. I know I said that last week, but here's the thing Mercury is in retrograde, and technical difficulties are running rampant right now. And so, I say this is going to be on YouTube. We'll see.
We are hopeful. We remain hopeful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, but so, like we said last week, we were on Good Day Sacramento on Friday. I made the mistake and said the 11 o'clock hour. I meant the 10 o'clock hour. We were the closer. We were the last segment of the show, which I felt was big, personally.
It is big.
Everyone's awake by the time we were on.
It is big. I mean, you go to any basketball game, they introduce the star player last,
Exactly.
pretty much.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right. So the headliner comes on last in a concert.
Yep.
Do they not?
They
So
always do.
we did Good Day Sacramento. You can look it up on their YouTube page. But also we will link it in our description box on here on YouTube. But it was a really fun experience, real quick conversation. I was nervous because I thought that the questions were going to be a lot more like quizzy, like, what do you think about the CBA negotiations and da 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 da. But luckily, it was just like, oh, how'd this come about? It was real fun.
Fun.
Fun and light.
And that's a good day. It's a morning show, obviously drive time, and then it gets into the 10 o'clock hour when things start to settle down. But it's a fun show.
Yeah, exactly. So we were very grateful to them for letting us be a part of their show and covering our humble little podcast. So again, check that out. Um, like I said, we are now on YouTube, Club Hoops Podcast on YouTube. So you can now see us. Hopefully that will enhance your podcast experience. Again, we are still on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and all that for the audio loyalist. But for people that like YouTube, like myself, like my dad, we like YouTube.
Love YouTube.
Yeah, this is a nice little addition. Okay, so you had a good weekend? Anything new you need to talk about, Dad?
I had a good weekend. It was a weird weekend.
Yes, it was.
Folks, you guys know we're off to Vegas yet again for Thanksgiving, and we was trying to settle down a little bit before we get out of town. So there's some things I had to get done, and I did that. But no, it was a good weekend. All in all, a good weekend.
In Vegas, they are having college games. I would hope we would make it. The only game we could possibly make it to is on Thanksgiving, and we don't know what time those games are. They might clash with our dinner time because we are going to a restaurant. But if we get to go, we'll let you know. If not, we'll still be watching on TV. I believe the games will be airing on
Yep.
TV. Um, Related but not related, Shador Sanders got the start yesterday, and it was a great, great game for him.
Great game. Great
He
game.
will be playing he'll be starting going forward, which is the right call. I was excited for him.
Yeah. No, it was
Perfect timing.
well, and it was good for the Browns. I mean, the team, if you looked at that bench, they were all happy, the players all happy and celebrating, and there were Browns fans obviously in the stands, and they had signs and 12 jersey on, and his dad was there. Our fellow podcaster duel of Matt Barnes, Steven Jackson were there as well. So no,
All the smoke podcasts, yeah, they were there in the box. So that was probably the highlight of my weekend, which is sad because that has nothing to do with me. I have nothing going on.
yeah.
Highlight of my weekend was somebody else getting to play football. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So let's get into this. I had to add some things to our agenda. Yes, I make an agenda because I am a Virgo. So, it being Monday, there's some new stuff that came up. First of all, the national team is having tryouts. Let me look it up. Of course, I'm not ready. I'm ready and I'm not ready. But this is basically a preview for Sue Bird and Kara Lawson and her coaches, which is Natalie from the Valkyries, and then you have Stephanie White, and then you have Nate from the Phoenix Mercury. So this is to evaluate players prior to naming the team for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, which will take place in September in Berlin, where the USA will seek their fifth consecutive World Cup gold medal. So people in the camp are Kalia Copper, Chelsea Gray, Brittany Griner, Kelsey Plum, Jackie Young, Dearica Hamby, Brianna Jones, Aaliyah Boston, Lauren Betts, Cameron Brink, Paige Beckers, Veronica Burton, Sonia Citron, Caitlin Clark, Kiki Irafin, Rakia Jackson, Angel Reese, and Juju Watkins. Now, of course,
That's a team.
Angel, Fee, and Brianna Stewart are missing from that list. Obviously, they do not have to try out. Like, are you really gonna have, especially Asia, you gonna have Asia come to the camp? Like,
Yeah.
hey, we
Yeah.
need to evaluate if you're
Yeah.
gonna be on the team. So with that being said, there's a theory that 7 spots are already taken, right? Fee, Asia, Stewie, that's 3 right there. Jackie Young, Kelsey Plum, Kalia Copper, and Sabrina Ionescu, another one who doesn't have to do the camp. This is the theory. So essentially, all these players are fighting for probably about 7 spots.
Mm.
I think it'll be interesting if Juju or Lauren is selected. I don't think they will be, just because of, age and experience, but I hope one of them is. That'd be exciting for them. I do think it's interesting that Brittany Griner is still being invited, and I think it goes back to what you said, Dad, about just the
Yeah.
height over skill or height over, whatever. So they'll essentially have 2 6'7" people, or how tall is Brittany Griner? Is she 6'7" or 6'11"?
I want to say I thought she was 6'11".
Because I think that's why. I mean, and it makes sense.
Yeah,
If you
6'10",
have
6'11". I think she's in that neighborhood.
okay, yeah, because I'm like, in 2025, Brittany Griner, but then you think about she's 6'9". Okay, fine. We were in the ballpark.
Yeah.
So her and Lauren Betts give some great height. Obviously, Lauren is coming with youth, which I love Brittany Griner down, but I think she too picks and chooses when she wants to play, and she's older, which
Yeah.
it's totally understandable.
Yeah.
Her not being down low, but again, it'll be interesting to see who makes the team out of this. Like you said, great group of women,
Yeah.
incredible
No,
talent to pick from.
you
Problem to
know,
have.
and I don't think. I mean, I think Juju will still be rehabbing. Should be.
Yeah,
So I don't think that.
should be because it's December. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think
good,
that's
good
going to
point.
be. That's not going to be someone you're going to add to the team. I'm curious as to why Caitlin Clark wasn't an automatic lock, though.
Are we? I think if I'm Sue Bird, if I'm Kara, they haven't really gotten to see Caitlin play a lot because their rookie year. They saw her with her struggles her rookie year, and then obviously she's probably still was a little exhausted coming right off the college season, and then the second year she couldn't play.
I, I,
Like,
I
we
un-
really didn't get to see her play, so maybe that's where they need to just evaluate and make sure. They might in their head even just think we're gonna put Caitlin on the
okay,
team,
okay.
but the politics of it all, maybe they're like, "We're gonna make her go to the camp, do it the right way," because you can just hear people say, "Caitlin Clark's a shoo-in, and she hasn't even played, like, 2 full seasons of the WNBA."
I understand.
So,
I understand that, and I can definitely hear that conversation going on. But if you're talking about representing America, I mean, I don't know. There's some picks you have for, a multitude of reasons. Reason number one, obviously, should be the way they play and how their game and how they play as a team together with those type
yeah.
players. But number two or three, however you want to rank it, we're representing America. So who's the face of American basketball, more or less? And how do I politically make that a reality if that person even doesn't play that well against another guard or another center? So anyway, it's a challenge, and I know they'll get through it.
Yeah, it's just the politics of it all. I don't think they can just name her without evaluating her, right? Because again, we haven't really seen you play.
Right,
Well,
right.
if we're honest, we haven't really seen you play professional basketball. So exciting for those ladies. We'll keep an eye out for all that good stuff. The Chicago Sky hired Latricia Trammell today as an assistant coach. Now, if you remember, Letitia was the head coach of the Dallas Wings, and she got fired right before Paige came. And then she was like the special assistant coach for the Los Angeles Sparks. I don't think I've ever said Los Angeles Sparks. LA Sparks. Sorry. That feels better. The LA Sparks. And now she's assistant coach over the Sky. I will say this is just like with the Sparks. I think this was an organization decision and not Tyler's decision, who's currently the head coach. I think teams bring her in because she's great with players. She's got great insight. I mean, do we really think this is going to have a strong impact on the Sky and that organ? I don't know. They're just such a terrible organization. It's like good for you guys, but also I don't know if this is going to really help you in the long run.
Remember, again, hate to bring the boomer perspective, but actually, I love to bring the boomer perspective. It's the optics. It's the optics.
Mhm.
I know, we need help on the floor, in the organization, on the bench. This is just one, piece of that help I'm bringing in. So
Yeah.
I think from the fans' perspective, it's a good look. Uh,
Mhm.
how it's going to work out in reality, is a different story. Whether or not the team's going to get somewhat better or some better decisions are going to be made because you got a guy in there who knows the game, good with players, and I'm going to even say probably good with the front office as well. So yeah,
Yeah.
no, I think it's a good try. I mean, it's a good strategy, more or less.
Listen, it can't get any worse over there.
No,
Like, you're not gonna do any worse over there, so, yeah, get Latricia over there. People love her, and if, there's a bunch of free agencies, if they sell well, I don't know if they have money to sign anybody else. I was gonna say if Arike ends up over there, they've got a great relationship, but, yeah, I mean, they can't get any worse. And I'm gonna knock on wood when I say that, but you can't do any worse. But I think it's a good addition, to kind of help Tyler out and be like a support system for Tyler
yeah,
to
yeah.
have someone that experienced. So now he's got like two former WNBA head coaches on his staff now. I mean, yes, two that have gotten fired, but it's still
No,
you still have the
A-
experience.
and like I said, a lot of this is just, for the optics. I want to show the fan base and maybe even players for that matter that we're trying. We're trying to get
Exactly.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was interesting that, some more information's coming out about Steph Curry and why he left Under Armour. I remember, like, in private conversations, I would ask you, Dad, like, are people even wearing his shoe? Like, where are the like, I don't think I've seen a commercial for a Steph Curry shoe in years. Maybe not since like the first or the second shoe. So it's very weird. But it came out today that Steph Curry he reportedly became frustrated by what they viewed as an underinvestment and lack of sales from Under Armour, which led to their mutual decision in partnership. This is the part I want to talk about. Another sore point for Curry was Under Armour's unsuccessful attempt to recruit Caitlin Clark to join his brand last year. Curry and the company pursued the phenom, but Under Armour's offer trailed the total value of Nike's pitch. I don't think there is a universe where Caitlin Clark would have signed with Under Armour.
I totally agree. I find
I find that hard to believe that you guys were
I
even contenders.
look, I find it hard to believe as well, particularly if I'm representing Caitlin Clark, if I'm like her folks. I look back to Jordan Brand and I think, you know what? Nike is your best opportunity to get the Caitlin Clark brand and have your own. Why am I coming under Steph Curry when I can have my own brand, my own
Yeah,
line, and I can make my
yeah.
own millions and billions? So no,
And
I can't see that either at all.
and maybe they pitched that. I mean, we don't know what was in the pitch, but I just think from a branding standpoint, why would I sign with y'all? Y'all have the arguably the best player in the world, one of
No.
top 5 for
Yep,
sure,
yep,
best
yep.
players in the world of all time, and y'all do nothing for him.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
all definitely not gonna do anything for me.
Right, right.
Like that, I think that probably was part of the conversations probably Caitlin Clark had when she's being approached by Under Armour. It's like, I haven't, like, just like I said, I haven't seen a Steph Curry commercial in decades. What would we really do together?
Yeah.
Like, what can you promise me that, or what can we look at that you've done for other, even the other athletes they have? I mean, they have Kelsey Plum, for God's sakes. What are
Yeah.
y'all doing for her?
Nothing. Nothing. Nothing.
I don't see a single promotion out here. So I think it's cute though that Steph and the gang thought it was a possibility, but I mean, no, it was never going to happen,
And
beloved.
here's the other thing too. I I dare to say, and Steph should have got this information sooner rather than later. Caitlin Clark is probably bigger than the brand of Under Armour. The name
Right.
Caitlin Clark resonates probably more. Well, maybe not on the East Coast, but it's probably bigger. The brand of Caitlin Clark, the name of Caitlin Clark, is probably bigger in many places than the name of Under Armour.
Yeah.
So I'm
She's
bringing a
kind of
lot.
like Yeah, she's kinda like the Shador Sanders of the league in the sense of
Yep.
you haven't really played, but you have popularity,
Yep. Yep.
right? And at the end of the day, it's sports entertainment, like we always talk about. That entertainment piece, people don't care how many games you've played or like, if you're doing well. If you're popular, that's still, like, so
Yep.
valuable,
Yep.
for brands. And so to your point, yeah, Caitlin Clark's stardom is a little bit bigger than Under Armour. No shade to Under Armour, they've kinda done that to themselves.
Yeah.
Again, you signed, before he even was popping, the best player in the world, and you've done nothing with that.
Right. That's
It's
right.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you went
Like,
out. And put a shoe on De'Aaron Fox.
I was just gonna say that.
Right? You put a shoe on De'Aaron Fox. You put a shoe on Davion Mitchell.
Davion Mitchell.
Okay, and
Again, no
now
shade,
you're
but huh?
now you're running over to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, that's the portfolio. Kelsey Plum, Davian Mitchell, De'Aaron Fox. I think Mylasia Fuwiley was signed. I don't know if she still is because she switched schools. I don't know how that works. But it's like there was no planet in which Caitlin Clark was signing with Under
No,
Armour.
I couldn't see it. And up till, well, even right now, I guess the folks that are managing, her sort of off the court, business activities, they've done a pretty good job. They've done a
Yeah,
really good job. So them saying, "Hey, Under Armour wants to drop," I don't know how much money they were talking about, but they want to drop XX millions on you, to sign under the Curry brand. I
yeah,
I don't know how. I don't that wouldn't work. That wouldn't work. That
exactly.
does not work for a Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. It's cute. It's kinda like how I mean, SGA signed with, Converse, but again, this was before he was, like, MVP and all that, and I feel like even Converse is starting to fumble the bag a bit.
Yep. Yep.
Like, your player won the championship and MVP in the same, and I think he might even got finals MVP.
Mm, Ja?
If he didn't get finals
No,
MVP
they
no,
didn't.
Shea.
They didn't make it to the finals.
Yeah, SGA, Oklahoma.
SGA. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did get
yeah.
finals.
And finals
Yeah.
MVP, and y'all have done nothing. When Asia Wilson won MVP, there was a commercial that dropped like 10 seconds after it was announced. When the Aces won the championship, the next commercial was a commercial about the trophy going back to
That's
Vegas.
right.
Like Nike is
Wait,
on it
the trophy was sitting in a PJ, in its
in the
own seat,
PJ.
going back to
Yeah,
Vegas. In
and
its own seat.
you're telling me Converse, who I mean, it was pretty clear that OKC was gonna win the championship. Like, it
I
was
think so.
pretty clear. Even if
Yeah.
it wasn't, make a commercial just in case. They had nothing. Hello? Who's not thinking over there? So, I don't know how long his contract is with Converse. I can see him leaving too.
Oh, indeed,
Um,
indeed.
I can't remember. Tyrese Halliburton left his shoe company. I think he was with Puma and
I
left.
don't know. I don't know if it was a Puma.
Oh, no, he left something and went to Puma.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he's with Puma now, and he left. If did he leave Reebok? Oh my god, where did he leave? Let's look it up.
Look it up.
But that's probably why he left too. Like, hey, you guys aren't even promoting me. What's going on? I'm gonna go to Puma, right?
I'm
And them too.
and I'm always fascinated with players to go to Puma, but it's like
Well,
I don't know what Puma is. Puma's not doing a whole lot either. But anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry, I digress.
right. Well, he got a massive multi-year deal with Puma in October 2024, so it's probably where the money was talking at
Okay,
that point.
okay, okay, great.
But, they also have, I think they have LaMelo and Scoot Henderson, which those 2, and who's the guy, Bagley, I think
Marvin Bagley the third. You know,
I don't know who's recruiting over there at Puma, but
and I'm gonna
yikes.
and I'm gonna say this, and I hope the Puma people won't get me for this.
We love you, Puma. Sponsor us.
Those players you just named, Marvin Bagley, Scoot Henderson, Tyrese Halliburton, all
LaMelo.
LaMelo have or all have had lower leg injuries.
Good point.
I tried to attribute when Bagley was playing for the Kings, I thought for sure it was because of the shoes Bagley was wearing.
Yeah, you were convinced.
I was
I mean, and
beyond
the
convinced.
proof is in the pudding.
Yeah, but Scoot,
You got a case.
yeah, but now you got Scoot and LaMelo and they all Halliburton, his injury, and they all wear Pumas.
Yeah.
Look, the forensic evidence is in. Look at their shoes.
Yeah. Right, right. Asia Wilson, Nike, she's hardly ever injured, so
Nike makes a good shoe.
they make a good basketball
They make a
shoe
good
for sure.
basketball shoe.
They make a great basketball shoe. Yeah, so I just thought that was interesting, the Caitlin Clark of it all. So they had the 2026 lottery draft pick, and now we have our order of operation. So Dallas got the first pick, the Lynx got the second pick, Seattle Storm third, Mystics fourth, which I think they got last year, and Sky fifth. And the Wings got the first pick last year. That's how they got Paige. Minnesota, I believe, got the second pick because they got that from Chicago. I feel like. I can't quite remember. I meant to look it up, but I think that's why. Um, I think that's very interesting. First of all, my problem with the lottery draft pick is they just pull a card out. I want
So
to see an actual lottery. I don't want to see that it's not actually fixed. Like, with the California State Lottery and the balls come up. I want that. Or let's roll some dice or something. I wanna make sure it's all on the up and up. You just pulling a card out, how do
oh
I
my
know?
God.
Or, like, let them go pull certain cards, like, off a board and then, because I just don't trust it. Because we have too many recurring number
Number 1
1, like,
pick. Yeah.
Indiana Fever got the number 1 pick twice in a row. Aces one time got 3 number 1 picks in a row. Like, it's just weird. But with that being said, how are we feeling? Who do you think will go number 1 now that Dallas has the number 1 pick?
So I'm always on 2 sides of the track with this whole number 1 pick thing. One is do I really use my pick or do I trade it away for something, and try to get something I need? I think if I had to pick, I take the best player available, and that might be Lauren Betts.
Okay, so well,
If I keep it. If I keep it,
debatable, but so you're going for
I'm
size. If
going for
you're Dallas,
size. I'm because I
you're going.
I I got speed and quickness.
Mhm.
I've got speed and
Well,
quickness. I have that. I don't have enough size. I don't have that rebounding on both ends of the court that I may need. I don't. I feel like for Dallas, I feel like I don't have that. So that's where I would be leaning.
that's interesting because I disagree. I would be drafting Azzi Fudd first, just because she's played with Paige before, obviously at UConn, but she's shooting 50% from the 3 point. Like she's lights out. She's a 3 point specialist.
No
She's an
doubt.
assassin. Oh, every word you can use. I feel like I totally get you. I
Mhm.
understand the size, but I feel like if you leave AZ, you're leaving points on the table.
Well,
And I feel like that Charles Barkley said the number 1 pick is your franchise player. It is the player you will be building around or building with. And I feel with Lauren, if you draft her, can you really build a team around a Lauren and Paige situation? And I'm leaving Enrique out just because everyone's a free agent. So I'm just going with who will definitely be there next year. Okay, can you build it around Zaza, Paige, that other rookie, I can't remember her name right now, and Lauren? Versus maybe you get AZ and you just go sign a big person. Like you sign Austin, who is at the Mystics right now, for example. Or maybe I don't know what Naz Hillman's contract. I think she might be a free agent too. Do you try to go get a Naz Hillman? I mean, you're not wrong. This is just
Mhm.
like, how do you want to, like you said, how do you want to play it?
Well, here's my thought, and I'm a huge Charles Barkley fan, love him dearly. I don't I think that's true in some cases that you do try to draft a franchise player. You have a franchise player. You have Paige Beckers. So that's why I said maybe the trade's on the table, which is I go to LA and I said, look, give me Stevens and give me, I don't know, your number 2 pick or your number 1 pick, and you can have my number 1 pick. I'm Dallas. I have a person I am building that team around. I have someone. Maybe give me Derica Hamby and Azzi Stevens, and
But
you can take
remember,
my pick.
you can't do that because everyone's a free agent.
Well,
So that's
true, true.
that's why I
You're right.
said it might be behoove them to draft AZ and then just go sign a big person.
I just, but
It's a hard
it
it's
is.
tough, like, because again, you've got Lauren Betts is attractive because she's 6'7", 6'8", whatever she's
Yeah,
listed at. But AZ is attractive because that's points right there. That's easily 24 points a night just off her
that's true.
3-point
That's true.
make.
But I again,
So it's not an easy answer.
it's not an easy answer. But I don't know if we've seen the best of Paige. I mean, this is here's the dilemma. You have a franchise player, okay? Technically, you draft an AZ Fudd who is a franchise player, by the way.
Mhm.
If she gets like Chicago, if she's still around for Chicago, if she's
Ooh,
still around, I don't think she will be. That's number 5. If she's still around, guaranteed they take her. They
well,
need the points. If she's still around for Seattle, they take her.
mhm.
I just don't know if she's a number 1 pick where you already have a clear number 1 pick franchise player there.
You brought up a good point. I was gonna say, people be prepared for your fave to be drafted to the Dallas Swing, excuse me, the Chicago Sky. Be prepared
Yeah.
for Flouche to go over there, or be prepared for if your fave is in danger of being shipped to
If they're
Chicago.
available, if
You guys
they're
are just gonna
available, if they're
just
available.
mentally prepare. If your fave is not a top 3 contender, Chicago Sky might be the destination. So just prepare your mind, body, and soul for that. But I agree with you with, like, you already have franchise player. But if you look traditionally, let's say Indiana, they had Aaliyah Boston, and then they went and got they got Caitlin Clark. The Aces, they drafted Jackie, or probably I'll try to do it in order. Well, no, I won't. Who cares? Jackie, Asia, and Kelsey, right? So historically in the WNBA, they just draft whoever should be number one, right? And the way Kurt was jumping up and down when they said they had the number one pick, he's not trading his pick. So now, to your point, he has to struggle with, okay, am I going for size or am I going for points? Not to say Lauren can't get you points, but you get what I'm saying. What
Mhm.
are their strengths? Lauren's strength is her height. That is her main advantage. What's AZ's strength? 3-point shooting. So now you just have to say, what do I need more? Or
That's right.
what's more
That's
valuable
right.
to our
That's
organization?
right. That's right.
Not an easy question.
Well,
Because then you have
and
good.
also too, not to cut you off, sorry. Also, as well, as front office folks, you're taught to take the best player available.
Yeah.
The best player available. So you're right. Balancing that thought along with what do I really need, they're going to have some decisions to make.
Yeah. Because we already said when we were talking about Lauren Betts is I don't think she's a number one draft pick. However, I think it's more so based on the needs. If
Mhm,
someone was
mhm.
really valuing height, sure, she'll be number one. But if we're really valuing like an all around player and a scoring machine, da 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 da, AZ might fall
That's
in
right.
your
No,
number
I
one.
agree with that. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally
And
agree
I
with that.
think based on who we saw at the last UCLA game we went to, which was a coach from the Lynx, they might be looking at Lauren Betts because they might the mindset. First of all, this was before the draft lottery, so this was like if we got the number one pick, they probably would have got Lauren
They
Betts.
would've. They
But
would've.
now that they have number two, they're probably now having to be like, okay, if we still want her, but if we can't get her, who it gets very interesting after number one,
It does.
in my opinion.
It does. It does.
Like I don't think Lauren Betts will go even three, but I think Lynx are going to draft, and this is just common sense. Whoever Dallas takes at number 1. Because let's say Dallas does take Lauren Betts, right? Well, if you're the Lynx, I don't think you mind having AZ Fudd.
No, no. Look,
I
she
don't
will
think
fit.
you mind.
She fits with the Lynx.
Right. And
She
I don't
fits
think you
perfectly.
mind at
Yeah.
that point.
Now, absolutely, she definitely fits with the Lynx. Yeah, they'll definitely take her.
You gotta break up the stud butts at that point. One of them gotta go.
Yeah,
Hey, we won't be resigning you because
yeah,
we have
yeah.
AZ. So, I mean, it's just interesting. And of course, you guys can look up ESPN has already done their mock drafts, and who cares about those? We don't pay attention to those. That number 5 will be interesting. I think whoever goes to Chicago, I mean, God bless it. God bless it. There's another interesting tidbit I wanted to say about um Chicago. First of all, they didn't even have a player representing at the draft.
What?
Yeah, it was like an executive that came. Now, why can't y'all find a player to come and do this? Last year was Angel Reese. Of course, she probably was not doing that this year.
Right.
Just
No,
like, girl,
she's got other
you know,
things she's got to do.
don't you guys want to suspend me? But the fact that they can't even get a player representative, it just speaks again volumes of to that weird organization.
Yeah,
And you're again
they should have found somebody.
right. And
Somebody.
once again, they're hosting the All-Star game. Again, they just have like such a just an odd vibe over there. Um, I think it's interesting, I'm glad that Chicago got a 5th pick. Because I couldn't quite remember if they had traded away that first round pick. Part of me feels like they did. I just can't remember. Somebody noted that if the Mystics make the playoff this season, the Sky will not have a lottery pick in 2027, which that's because I think they traded for their 2027 pick. And the Mystics are in a great position to make the playoffs
Well,
in the 2026
and
season.
the Mystics have an abundance of picks as well, right? Because they traded
Yeah.
players and got picks. So they
Yeah.
they can basically draft a whole new team if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think this draft will be very important for Chicago. That poor organization. But yeah, that's the stage is set. We'll see what happens in 2026. But
Well,
right now AZ is
well,
favored to go number 1 by media outlets.
I find it interesting. I think 1 and 2 is definitely, 2 picks to watch. The number 3 pick,
Yeah.
Seattle. When it all
Yeah.
shakes out, Seattle should be in a pretty good position.
Now, do you think they should be drafting a guard or just
Uh, You know, I I think where they fell down, they need a big.
yeah.
They need a big. Where they fell down on the road to the playoffs, they just couldn't rebound. They couldn't rebound. And NECA, I love NECA dearly, but NECA Ogumike, she just couldn't get it done. And it really wasn't her job to get it done by herself, by the way. Let me say that too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she just couldn't get it done. So if there's a big available, they should take a big. If you take a guard, you got to think about how is this guard going to work with Skylar? Because that's going to be the
If she's there.
if she's there. That's going to be the
Yeah.
big question.
ESPN's mock, if you're interested, mock draft is AZ to Dallas. Awa Fam. So Awa Fam is 6'4". She's from Spain. They think the Lynx would draft her. And then, but to your point, still same point, size, right? They're
Besides,
they're drafting for size. They think the Seattle Storm will draft Olivia Miles, guard. Washington Mystics will draft Lauren Betts, and then Flau J. Johnson to the Sky.
so
That's the top.
AZ Fudd is not even in the top 5.
She's number 1.
Number 1, I'm sorry.
Sorry if I
Number 1.
yeah, she's
You
number
did
1.
say that. That's me. My bad.
Okay, so those are the top 5. So, we'll see if ESPN's right. We still got a lot of basketball to play, as they say. There's a lot of basketball to
Yeah.
play. So, we'll see. The New York Liberty hired a new head coach. Chris DeMarco, assistant coach with the Warriors since 2012. So he has 4 NBA titles. He's also the head coach of the Bahamian men's national team. You know how I feel about this.
Ab
No women, no
about
black women.
about the Bahamas?
No,
No.
love them down, not them. The coach selection, there's no not once again, a man, not a woman or a black woman. Once again, someone who has no experience coaching the women's game. Once again, someone who's only been an assistant coach, uh, in the NBA, let alone the WNBA or even at the college level. Sure, he's a head coach of a national team, fine, whatever. But again, I don't think that is a women's team. Yeah, it's not. It's a men's team. Also, so it's almost like the tempo, the high when the coach that got hired for the Toronto Tempo. It's like, I don't understand. And I think also why I'm looking at this side-eyed, the GM for the Liberty made it seem like they were gonna go out and get a GOAT. Like they were gonna go out and hire Pat Riley or somebody. We want to be a dynasty, and oh, didn't he say we're not looking for this to be a stepping stone
That's right. He
opportunity
did
for
say that.
somebody?
He did say that.
This feels like a stepping stone opportunity for someone who's never been a head coach for women's basketball or in the NBA or in the WNBA. It's very unimpressive
Right.
for the tone that the GM was trying to set.
Right, right, right. Yeah,
Like, you fired Sandy for this?
yeah. And also too, I mean, the conditions that the Liberty have created over there now. Because
Mhm.
if you fired Sandy because there was an expectation we were gonna go back to back, I mean, what was this guy's interview like? You
Or
know,
you were trying to build the
the
dynasty,
dynasty,
right?
yeah. If you kept Sandy, because remember he wanted to fire her at the end of last season after she won a championship.
Yeah, yeah.
If you got rid of Sandy because she fell short of a back to back, and then you go hire this guy, like you said, no WNBA coaching experience, hell, no head coaching for sure, no head coaching experience, no WNBA assistant coaching experience. If you hire this guy, have you abandoned this whole we want a dynasty thing? We want to get back. Now we're sort of almost in rebuild mode. I mean, it's a weird. I mean, the guy must have some talent. Okay, I'm not going to trash him, but that organization, what are you looking for? What do you really want? What do you really want to be? Because what you
Right.
told us, the viewing public, after you fired Sandy, was you wanted a dynasty. This wasn't going to be a stepping stone to some other head coaching job in the NBA, the WNBA, or college, or anything like that. You wanted somebody who's going to be there, for a while.
Yeah, and also too, I mean, I guess coming from the Warriors, fine, you came from a dynasty, you witnessed it as an assistant coach, but you and I know as Kings fans, we endured Mike Brown for a season and a half.
Season and a
That
half.
doesn't always translate, to win, because look, the Warriors are very spoiled in the sense that it's not like they have a great coach. Steve Kerr is fine, but it's not like he's over there like drawing up trick plays and it's just a motivate. He had great players, very Phil Jackson of it all. No disrespect to Phil Jackson. Obviously, he had some great ways to inspire, but he also had Michael Jordan. He also had Kobe Bryant, Shaquille O'Neal, right? And I just don't know, I don't the Warriors rarely had to get it out the mud, basically, right? Steph Curry just got really great overnight, and then all the pieces just kind of came together. I just don't think it translate as dynasty just because he was an assistant coach. I did read that Sabrina Ionescu consulted with Steph in this hiring process and asked Steph about him, da 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 da. So I don't know. There's that. Just from the outside looking in to all the points you made, what the GM said he wanted and the hiring, it just doesn't make
It doesn't
sense.
make sense. It doesn't make sense. And let me say this about Sabrina having a conversation with Steph. First of all, Steph is not gonna say, I mean, the guy
That's
probably,
what I was thinking.
right?
Yeah.
Steph is not gonna say anything, out of line, like, "You gotta watch out for this, you gotta watch out for that." He rode with Steph through 4 championships, so, you get a whole lot of credit for that. So, I don't know if that conversation, it's probably helpful to say that you had the conversation. I just don't know if that conversation would have yielded anything other than, "He's a good guy."
He's a good
That's
guy.
that's that's what I mean, that like you said, Steve Kerr didn't have a lot to do with that team.
Yeah.
We all know Mark Jackson put that team together. We
Ooh,
all know Mark
ooh.
Jackson got that team rolling. All you had to do
Period.
is walk in and let Steph and Clay and Draymond work. In fact, a couple
Yeah.
games he actually handed the clipboard to Draymond and Steph, and he walked away from the bench. So
Right,
that
right.
team, saying you were on that team as an assistant coach and that you got skills, we have to see the skills now.
Exactly. It's yet to be seen, and I think, uh, I will say coming from Golden State, you can expect Sabrina to be shooting a lot more threes
A
and
lot
being a
more,
lot more the
a
focal
lot
point
more.
of the offense, which I will give the GM some credit. That was what he was kind of alluding to, that he wanted Sabrina more involved and
Yeah.
more, kinda at the focal point of the offense. So we'll see. But again, still not hiring women, still not hiring black women, so whatever. I was gonna talk about Project Rebound,
Oh,
which is a great program at San Francisco State University and Sac State, but that's not what I was gonna say.
yeah.
Project B is what I was gonna talk about, but, it's nothing really to talk about. I was just gonna note that John Jonquel Jones, Jewell Loyd, Kelsey Mitchell signed, and Camila Cardoso. That's important because you and I and people speculate that this is gonna be a league full of veterans. Camila Cardoso is a big pickup, and she is a young player.
Yeah.
And I'm actually, giving her some kudos. She's from Brazil, humble beginnings. This is life-changing money for her and her family.
And first of all, smart move on Project B's part because she's international.
Mhm,
She's international. So now you
mhm.
have that international flavor, sort of running through your group here. So yeah, it is. I'm a little concerned though. Again, the newness of the league. Okay, for one, the newness of Camilla's career, and how that's going to work with her still playing in the WNBA. But they'll figure it out. I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
sure. But it is life
yeah,
changing money for her. I think that's great. I also look forward to what type of player she's going to develop into because of this additional league and league play because she's been, in my opinion, struggling to get several things going on the WNBA side. One is her footwork. Second is sort of around the basket defense. So I think if it's going to help her in those two places, more power to her. I'm all for it.
yeah. Um, yeah, I just think, I mean, Project B claims they're not in competition with the WNBA. Now, they might not be schedule-wise. You might not be schedule-wise, but money-wise, you are in
They are
competition.
definitely in competition.
Because look, Camilla could get this money and be like, "I'm not coming back to the sky. I'm not doing that. For what? Why would I come and play for pennies when I'm getting cashed out?" Which we talked about almost every week. So it'll be interesting. And Kelsey Mitchell signing up, I think that's great. It'll be interesting to see who else signs up. The one of the executives was on a podcast last week talking about, Project B and, the Saudi of it all, and it's still maintaining that Saudi is not funding this league. It's the co-founder and chief basketball officer, Alana Beard. She was on a podcast talking about it. So just Google Alana Beard. I think it's called, the podcast is Good Game, maybe. So Google that if you're interested to hear more. Again, I don't know who to believe. Not saying I believe her anyway. Like, would they really tell us if the Saudi Arabia money was involved? I don't think so. So we might never know.
We may never know.
We might never know. So let's move into college hoops. There's a few things I want to note. Duke lost again. Kara Lawson and the Dukes lost again, 72 to 85 to South Florida. Duke is officially spiraling, and it doesn't get any easier because their next game is against South Carolina, and they're about to take the butt whooping probably of the season thus far. Um, Thoughts on their struggles? Thoughts on Kara Lawson's struggles?
Well, as you know, we have some familiarity with Kara Lawson with her time here with the Monarchs and all that. And she was a great player.
Monarch legend.
Yeah, great player,
Monarch icon.
absolutely great player, and her work ethic during those days was incredible. I used to see her when I
Workhorse.
used to fly
Absolute
when I used to
workhorse.
fly out of Sacramento. I used to see her, on the plane, coming back, and she's walking up and down the aisle, just keeping her body going. So anyway, so great person. I am not sure, but I think I'm almost sure that she has she's maybe created an expectation over there that she's a really, 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 really good coach, and those around her have told her she's a really, 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 really good coach. And she's coming up on situations that, she can't work through. And that's normal, for coaches to go through that. And I'm not going to say it's her inability to in-game adjustments, make situations, what we call situational basketball. It's her inability to work through and deal with situational basketball. I think she is going into a place right now where folks are looking at her team and looking at her, and they've found these vulnerabilities and they're exploiting them. And
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
exploiting them. I still think, she's a good coach. She's not great. I'm not going to put the great title on her. She has a decent team. They're not great. The question is, the issue is you bring all them together to make them play great from a team standpoint. So right now, when you start losing and start chasing wins, that's when you make your most mistakes. So I just think she needs to settle down. Okay, settle down, have you and play basketball and coach basketball. I think that loss that they took where West Virginia, where they only had 5 players and they had all 11 of theirs, I think that damaged them for a little while. I mean,
Oh,
when
yeah.
you lose like that, that plays heavily on your mind as a player, and as a coach, it plays heavily on your mind because you can't let that happen again. So then you come back and you lose to South Florida. Then you come back and you got to face South Carolina. You really have to pull yourself up and say, It's about effort. It's about
Right.
effort. We're going to win through effort. We're not overly talented, but we have a whole lot of effort and heart. And that's what they need to get back to. Those are my
Yes.
thoughts.
The talent part I agree with, because I was saying maybe when they need to make these adjustments, they don't have the talent to do it.
Yeah.
Again, these are tough losses because these are games you should be winning.
Should be winning.
As a ranked, formerly ranked, but as a ranked
Yeah,
team, these are should be winning so you could prepare to play a team like South
absolutely.
Carolina.
Absolutely.
South Carolina should be the games where you really can see where you are. These other little games should just be, I don't wanna say scrimmages, like, no disrespect to them, but they shouldn't be this difficult.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be losing for sure, but they shouldn't be as difficult as they are. So again, they're having a season, quite the struggle. Iowa, another upset. Iowa beat Baylor, and as a result, Baylor dropped from the rankings. So University of Iowa is trying to do a little something.
Well, and
Trying to do
and
a little bit.
and look, let's be real. They have a good program.
Mhm.
You talking about teams that play with heart and soul?
Yeah.
Iowa is one of those teams.
They
And
do have a lot of heart.
they have a lot of heart. They have a lot of heart. So you can, like they say, rebounding is 100% effort. Defense is
Mhm.
100% effort.
Mhm.
Iowa gives 110% effort when they play. Really,
Yeah.
really, really good team to watch play. So no, I'm not surprised.
And then, Rhode Island upsets NC State 68-63 on the road. Big win for Rhode Island, big loss for NC State. They're another, ranked team that they're having their struggles this year too. Not sure. I mean, yeah, they lost really two really good players to WNBA, but they're right
They're
there. They
right
can't
there.
quite get over the hump.
They're
Yeah,
right
they've
there.
got some peaks. So that's something to look out too. So let's get into our games. We have 2 games we're spotlighting
Yeah.
today. First, let's start with USC versus Notre Dame. Um, as a USC fan, sir, as a U, did you? I had a friend that said that a lot of Hannah Hidalgo steals could have been fouls. I'm just gonna ask you about that off top. How do you feel about this? Was there some home cooking going on for Notre Dame?
No, no, it was good
Okay,
basketball. I'm not gonna,
okay,
here's the problem, and I'm an SC fan, so it'd be easy for me to say yes, there were fouls, but no, that's good. Let them play. Let them play. When you have two good teams like that, you can't stop that game for ticky-tacky play. Hannah
yeah,
Hidalgo played. Okay, and if
yeah,
you as a USC coaching staff weren't ready for her, shame on you.
yeah.
Okay,
If you
you were the ranked team. You were ranked higher than Notre Dame.
Yeah,
And if you weren't ready for that lady to come and do what she does, and
that lady.
shame on you. She was swiping balls, she was hitting jumpers, she was going to the basket. She had a great game, and SC had to be ready for that. Got to get
I
ready
think
for
if
it.
you looked at the box score for both teams, they were pretty even in all categories. And the theme of this game was turnovers. They had
Turnovers.
each team. USC had a total of 21 turnovers, and Notre Dame had a total of 17 turnovers. It was, I mean, it was really hard to watch at some point because it's we. I don't think the game ever really got into a flow because there were just so many turnovers. I also thought it was interesting to your point about being ready for Hannah Hidalgo. And I get it. Every coach wants their own game plan and do it their way. But for the USC coach, and I know they either heard about the game or saw the game, for you to see or hear about how Michigan played Notre Dame and how they successfully shut Hannah Hidalgo down, and you not adopt any of the things they were doing is criminal.
Yeah.
The fact that at one point they went man. Why would you go man with Hannah Hidalgo? She's the fastest player on the court. And then even in that last shot where Hannah Hidalgo hit the game winner, I'm not saying Smith, I believe, was on her. I'm not saying she didn't play good defense or she's not capable. It's the last shot of the game.
Last shot of the
Throw
game.
everything in the game is tied.
Yeah.
So if she misses, it's just going to overtime. Throw everything make someone else beat you. Get the ball out of Hannah's hands. You can kind of live with someone else beating you, right?
Yep.
But the fact that they let her go one-on-one in an ISO,
Yep.
I thought that was very irresponsible on USC's part. And the fact that they never double teamed Hannah
Never.
Hidalgo.
Never. Never
And
doubled her.
then I don't hear a lot of people talking about this either. That last play, they had to go the full length of the court. Why are y'all letting her dribble the full length of the court?
Yep.
Where is the traps? Where's the double team? There's no real on-ball pressure. It
Yep.
was very like you like to say and other people say, playing not to lose instead of playing to win.
That's right. That's what it was.
Why aren't
That's it.
you swarming on defense for the last play? I think coaching lost them this game, especially since I think at one point they were up 11 points. I also think USC with having Juju out is such a disadvantage because obviously everything probably you planned on everything running through Juju, right? And I think what Notre Dame has, who else? What probably LSU has, what a lot of teams have that don't have a lot of talent, they have that one player that can make everything go.
Yep.
They
Yep.
have the one player that you can kind of rely on. USC unfortunately doesn't have that. Like Jazzy's great. She's a great freshman, talented, but she's obviously still a freshman
Still a freshman.
in the way she plays.
Still a freshman.
Losing Juju, you're missing the player that makes everything go, or the player that you say, hey, here's the ball, we're gonna spread out, go do your thing.
But I have to say again, I like the fact you brought up the way Michigan shut Hannah Hidalgo down. To me, SC didn't have a plan for Hannah Hidalgo.
Yeah,
They did not
it
have
was
a plan.
very clear.
Didn't have a plan for her at all. They let her run the court. They let her
Hmm.
defend with reckless abandon. Okay, that's why she
Hmm.
got so many steals.
Yeah.
So you didn't have a real plan for her. The other thing is you put a majority of your eggs in a freshman's basket. Okay, in Jazzy's
Hmm.
basket. Jazzy, I think she shot maybe three air balls during that game. And I'm sure that was the game plan. Just you're open, shoot. You're open, shoot. Well, I, you can't do that each and every time. You can't. You got to say, look, we have to figure out a way, Jazzy. We have to make coaching has to say this. We have to figure out a way to put Jazzy in better positions to score. We don't want her just
Yes.
jacking it up because she's quote unquote open. She may not be good from the elbow. She may not be good from the corner. She may not be good from top of the key. But find the places where she is good, and then tell her, okay, these are your spots. I didn't see any of that really going on.
Yeah.
So I think SC and I love them dearly. On this one, they just weren't prepared. They just weren't prepared for Notre Dame. They were not
Right.
prepared. And Notre Dame, to their credit, they came out and we're just going to play. We're just going to play hard. They didn't
Right.
focus on one particular player either, by the way. They just
Yeah.
played. So
Yeah.
they knew we're just going to play hard, and it works for
Right.
them.
And I think they beat USC in points in the paint as well. They
Mhm.
were really good at cleaning up the boards, rebounding, right? But I just think USC, they are really missing Juju. They just don't have that player that can just take over the game like a Hannah Hidalgo,
That's right.
or even like over there at TCU, Olivia Miles, when she makes everything go over there,
Yep, yep.
and
And
they're kind of missing
and the
that.
other thing about players like that, teams that are really thinking and coaching, those players attract attention. So they may be doubled. If they're doubled, somebody else is open. So they're great
Right.
decoys as well. So
Yeah.
having that kind of player helps other players on the team, have good games. So
Yes.
you're right.
Yes.
You're
Because
right.
you're able to kick out.
Yep.
Uh, Lauren Betts is a great example. The teams get so focused on Lauren Betts that they leave the shooters open.
Yep. They just
So
collapse.
that's
They just
yeah,
collapse on Lauren.
that's a great. So someone said it best that Lindsay, the coach, out of timeout plays calls are brilliant. She can be playful at times, but when she draws something up, it's dangerous. Jazzy had no business missing that shot. So I agree. She's great at these like plays out of the timeout or when you need a basket. But I just think, like you said, the preparing as a whole
Yeah.
for Hannah Hidalgo was just not there. She's their main player. If Hannah's out of the offense, they have no
They have
offense.
no offense.
And again, we saw that with
Yeah.
Michigan. Why didn't you take something from
Yep. Yep.
Michigan?
Yep.
Perfect segue though into UConn versus
See
Michigan.
see how it
Uh,
works?
Perfect segue. Michigan lost 69 to 72. This was a top 10 game and it lived up to the hype. It was a great game. I mean, I was holding my breath at the end because I was like, oh my God, is UConn going to actually lose this game? I will admit, I think Michigan was a little caught off guard at the beginning. It took them a while to get going. I actually was scared for them. I was like, oh my God, are they getting ready to get blown out? I think they were overwhelmed because Gino had them UConn come out fast and furious. They were just sprinting up and down the court, swarming on defense. I mean, it was overwhelming for me to watch. And I think Michigan was a little overwhelmed too. But in the second half, they came back with a vengeance. And I think their defense always keeps them in a game because they weren't necessarily hitting great shots just yet. But that defense kept them in the game. And Syla Swords, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but Swords, this is on Michigan, she had 29 points, 8 for 14 from three, which means all her points came from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then you look on the other side, you had Azzi Fudd with 31 points, 7 from 12, 7 for 12 from the 3-point. Like I said earlier, she's shooting 50% on 7.6 3-pointers attempts per game. It was a shootout.
Yeah.
And they were guarding each other at one point. So either they each weren't playing defense or they were that good. And I'm just going to go with they were that good because Swords only needed a little bit of space and she was launching it. I mean, I was impressed. So impressed with her shooting. And she also had 9 rebounds and 3 assists. Like she had a great game. They lost this game, but they should not feel bad about this game at all.
There
At all.
we had a chance to see early in the season 2 very good teams. 2 very
Mhm.
good teams. And if Michigan can stay healthy, because UConn's bench is deep.
Yeah.
If folks get hurt at UConn, it's probably not that big of a deal. Uh, it is and it isn't, right? But if
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Michigan can stay healthy, oh man, we're gonna see some great basketball out of Michigan this year. Great basketball.
Final four. They might be in the
Yeah,
final
great
four.
basketball.
I mean, the way they adjusted to UConn, because they got hit in the mouth. They got hit in the mouth pretty quickly in the first quarter, but the way they adjusted and came back and played solid
Mhm.
defense and made their shots, it was just very, very, very impressive. Now, UConn is UConn, and like my dad always says, good teams just find a way to
They
win.
find a way to win.
And they too had some good defense down the stretch. Even that last, inbound, they were able to get the ball and it was still chaotic, but they were able to make a defensive stop. But it was just such a good game. Both teams looked good. And like I said, at this point of the season, we're in November, you're still kind of seeing where you're at. And I think this was a good game for both teams to see where they're at and that, both teams have things they can work on, even UConn.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
couldn't make shots. Like I think in the third quarter, they just kind of went cold and there were some questionable turnovers, but I mean, if you're Michigan, to focus on them, you feel really good about yourself
Yeah,
and where you
yeah,
are.
yeah.
You know, you shut down Hannah Hidalgo, the number 3 best player in the league. Then you go to UConn, you're playing the best team in the country, and you almost beat them.
Almost pulled it off.
And that's just because it's your first time playing them. If you had to play them again, you know exactly what you would do. But with that being said, UConn's the same way. If they had to play Michigan again, they're not letting Swords just
No,
shoot,
they're
and I
not.
think maybe Michigan feels the same way about AZ. Like, okay, we are not even letting her catch the ball. But if you wanted to see good basketball, this was the
It
game.
was a game. It was actually great basketball. And I always talk about in-game adjustments by coaches. You saw some great in-game adjustment by coaches because Michigan's defense to be playing that kind of defense this early in the season tells me there was a lot of off-season work done. Because when you
Yes.
come together like that on defense, I mean, offense nowadays, offense is mostly perimeter, people pulling up, shooting threes, as we saw in that game. But defense is one place where generally it takes some time to gel on defense, and they were
Mhm.
already gelled.
Yeah, and I noticed, I mean, both teams looked really well conditioned. Talking about work done on the offseason because of the pace UConn was playing at. I thought, oh my God, Michigan might be gassed because it's so fast. But they kept up. They didn't seem fatigued. They really just again played their game, played their defense, and it just I mean, I was just very impressed with Michigan. And I look forward to seeing how much better they get and by March what they look
Yeah,
like.
absolutely,
Um
absolutely.
I almost want them to play South Carolina now just to see how they do against them. Like, let's get you in some more top 10 games. Like LSU, where are you at? Um, LSU, they're over there playing the
Don't say
Salvation
it.
Army.
Don't say it. Leave it
They're
alone.
over there playing AAU teams. I don't know. They're like all these scoring records. Oh my God, they're scoring more than 100. Like, yeah, well, you guys aren't really playing
Yeah, don't say
ranked people. Let's
leave
get some competition in here.
leave it
It will be
alone.
interesting. It On a serious note, it will be interesting to see if and when LSU faces some I don't wanna call it adversity, but when they have to play, like, really talented team, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I still think they're a good team. These are just jokes, people.
Yeah. No, they're a good team. They're a good team. They have a process. Let me say that.
Yes, they do. So, loved watching that game. Shout out to Michigan. You guys are in a beautiful, beautiful place. Despite the loss, you guys are golden. My God. If I was any team watching that, I would be afraid to play Michigan. I
Yeah.
mean, you're already kind of don't want to deal with UConn, but like Michigan, I don't want any parts. Um, Going back to WNBA news, I forgot to mention there was a reportedly deal from the WNBA for the CBA negotiations. It was to raise the supermax. Uh, I'm trying to make sure I say this right because supermax to 850,000.
Well,
Is that what you heard?
it was to a million actually,
Okay,
but
because I was like, I
but the
can't.
but the real number was like 800,000. You know.
Yeah, yeah, but if salaries can climb past that, only if revenue sharing bonus hits, uh, and it's blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. The point is, there's no real offer about revenue
No.
sharing, and I think that is what the CBA's priority is. So while you're hearing about this $1 million salary and the raise of rookie contract, blah 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 blah. They want revenue sharing, not a raise in salary, because they don't want a salary model. They want a model where their money grows with the business. In
Yep.
case you're confused about why they wouldn't take that. Because let's just say they agree to this. Okay, we'll do a million. Now cut to maybe even next year, 2 years, let's say. Now the WNBA is making twice as much money as they made when this negotiation. But the players are reaping none of that. They get this fixed salary and they're not growing. Their money's not growing as the company
Right.
grows.
That's
And
right.
as we all if you ever had a 9 to 5, you're on a salary fixed income. Wouldn't it be great if you worked at Gap and your money grew when the company grew, or you worked at Amazon and your salary was based on the growth of the company? Ah, wouldn't that be just
That would
gorgeous?
be gorgeous. But,
So that's
it works. I mean, here's the deal. I understand the whole revenue share, desire and all that. I mean, it's like they're like my stock options. You know what I mean? I now have stock in the company. It behooves me to play hard, work hard, because as the company grow, I grow. It's an additional motivation factor. So I can appreciate the conversation about we need revenue share. I really
yeah.
can.
Yeah. So again, they only have till the 30th. What is it? The 24th? That's 6 days. 6 days to say yay or nay. So
Yeah.
we'll see. By the way, I just found out with, the Chicago Sky coaching assistant coaching news that Courtney Paris was not returning as an assistant for the Sky.
Okay.
That's a huge loss.
Uh,
I think the players really like Courtney. Certainly, Camilla has talked about how she enjoys Courtney. And, Courtney is a big man. She's a good with coaching other big men. I say big men. Sorry,
I
it's
know.
genderless when I say that.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know. I don't. I'm disappointed for the players at the Sky that they're losing Courtney.
I'm
Not to say it's devastating, but it's just kind of like, oh man,
but I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why. Because, the for whatever reason, whenever there's a good situation, I mean, it's like when they lost Teaspoon. When there's a good situation going on over there, there's either the player, the coach themselves decide they're leaving, or the team decides they want to part ways. So I'm not horribly surprised. Hopefully Courtney is going to another place, where she can, continue her coaching career. And I can't remember, which one did you play against in high school?
get out of my head. I was just gonna ask you, which one did I play
I think it
against?
was
And
Courtney.
I thought both of
Down
them.
down in
Oh, okay, just
Modesto Christian, right?
yeah,
I think they were in
and
Modesto
AAU, I
Christian.
believe too.
And AAU. Yeah, yeah. I think it was Courtney. I think it was
Yeah,
Courtney.
as a former competitor of Courtney's, we didn't play the same position. I did not have to guard.
Yeah.
Praise God for
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, yeah, but I think it was Courtney, if I remember right.
Praise God
And
for
and just
Jesus.
as further background, Courtney is the daughter of Bubba Parrish, former, left tackle of the San Francisco 49ers, number 77, if I believe, but
Niner gang gang. Yes. Also, if you care, the Mercury, they've changed their logo. They've rebranded. Rebranding after you lose in the finals is a little crazy, but sometimes you just do anything. You just need something to do. Because I'm like, I'm not sure this was the year to start rebranding. You just lost in the finals, got swept, and now you're rebranding?
you know,
You
in
got swept into a
in in
rebrand?
in 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 poker, there's an equivalent term for that. It's called on tilt. They're on
Oh,
tilt,
yes. I heard of
right?
that
They've
before.
they've they've lost something significant, and now they're on tilt. So we're gonna
Ugh.
rebrand, we're gonna sign some more players, we're gonna, fire some coaches. I mean, they're on tilt. They can't understand how they lost to the Aces. And particularly making the run that they ran, the run that they had. I'm sorry. So they're on tilt a little bit.
I have a theory too that they're getting ready to give Diana Taurasi a statue, like how they gave Sue Bird a
Yeah.
statue. I have this sneaky suspicion they might be doing that soon too. Um, Also, finally, about the Sky, I found what I wanted to say. If the Chicago Sky are the only non-expansion team in the WNBA's 30-year history to never have a number one pick. And that record will extend past 2027 because they sold their 2027 pick to Washington for Ariel Atkins.
They sold it or they traded it?
Well, they gave it away,
Gave it away,
whatever.
okay.
Sold, trade, they gave it away. They don't have it. They ain't got it. So that is what's going on over there. And yet and still, the GM still has a job. I find that
And
very interesting.
and they're hosting the All-Star game.
Was gonna say, and they are
They're
hosting
hosting the
the
All-Star game.
2026 All-Star
Yeah.
Game. Um, Before we wrap this up, do you have anything you'd like to promote?
It's it's recipegenie.com. I have to promote that.
Ask. I gotta ask. I
It's
never know.
recipe
Something
I
might
no,
change.
I like saying it. People, please go to that site, take a look at it. It's good, working toward great. and
Awesome.
just take a look. If you're a foodie or if you're somebody that's into these recipe generation platforms, this is a good one.
Perfect. And of course, once again, look us up for our Good Day Sacramento segment. Just go to Good Day Sacramento's YouTube page and you'll find it. We will link it in our description box on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, subscribe, like our YouTube video. Um,
And
we'd really appreciate
our
it.
sponsor.
Sponsor us. Thank you.
No,
Gotta
Joe.
remind.
We're gonna give Joe.
Oh, yeah. Joe Hogan, one of our sponsors, Adrenaline Academy. They are training now. That's all I'm obligated to say. But if you'd like to sponsor us, if you'd like me to give you a shout out, you or your business, we are taking sponsors. Please email us, theclubofhoops at gmail.com. Or send us a message and tell us how
Yeah.
much you love us.
Under Armour, we know you need somebody.
Under Armour,
Reach
we
out.
know we gave you a hard time today,
Reach
but
out.
we will reach out. We'd be happy to have you as a exclusive sponsor. They I don't think they've sponsored a podcast. It's time to break
Time.
into that.
It's time. This could help them.
It's time. Exactly. We could help. Exactly. Other than that, that wraps up another exciting week of basketball. We will talk soon. I'm sure something will go down in either the WNBA world, the Project B world, or the college hoops world, and we'll be ready to talk about it. Other than that, enjoy your day, people. Bye.
Bye, folks.